Let me tell you something powerful. Motivation is a spark. It feels good, it lights you up, it gives you that rush. But a spark without fuel fades out fast. See, too many people wait for motivation to strike before they move. They wait for the perfect song, the perfect mood, the perfect time. But life doesn't wait for your feelings. Success doesn't care if you're motivated or not. What matters is if you show up. When the music stops, when the crowd disappears, when the excitement fades, that's when the real test begins. It's not about how inspired you are when it's easy. It's about how disciplined you are when it's hard. Because discipline doesn't need an audience. Discipline doesn't need applause. Discipline whispers, get up, keep going. You said you would. Motivation. It feels electric when it hits you, doesn't it? That rush of energy, that pulse of purpose, that voice inside saying, I'm ready. I can do this. You feel unstoppable in that moment, like nothing can stand in your way. But let me tell you the truth that separates dreamers from doers. Motivation is only the spark. It's not the fire that keeps you warm through the cold nights of struggle. It's the beginning, not the whole journey. Because when the applause stops, when the excitement fades, when the results don't come as fast as you hoped, that spark starts to flicker. And if you don't have something stronger to sustain it, it dies. Motivation gets you started, but consistency, that's what keeps you moving when the flame dies down. Every champion, every leader, every person who ever changed their life, they all started with that same spark. But they understood something most people don't. The spark alone isn't enough. The spark might ignite your passion, but it's your daily discipline that keeps the fire burning. You see, the gym feels good the first week. The diet feels great the first few days. Waking up early feels productive the first morning. But when your muscles ache, when temptation whispers, when the bed feels softer than your goals, that's when the spark gets tested. And in that moment, motivation won't save you. Emotion won't sustain you. You have to have built a fire of purpose. One that's fed by commitment, not by feeling. Motivation fades because it relies on emotion. But purpose stands unshaken in the storm. When you build your habits around purpose instead of feelings, you stop being controlled by the weather of your emotions. You stop waiting for the perfect day, the perfect mood, the perfect someday. You realize that today is all you need, and showing up, even imperfectly, is still progress. That's where power lies. Because true power isn't found in doing something once with passion. It's found in doing it over and over with persistence. So don't worship motivation. Respect it, but don't depend on it. Let it light the match, then get to work building the fire. Collect those small sticks. The early mornings, the quiet focus, the hard choices no one sees. Because those sticks, when stacked together, become an unshakable blaze of consistency. And once that fire starts burning, it feeds itself. You stop needing to be motivated. You become the motivation. You become the example, the story, the spark for someone else. So yes, motivation is beautiful. It's powerful. But it's fleeting. Don't just chase the feeling. Chase the follow through. Because the spark may start the fire, but only your effort keeps it alive. And when that fire burns strong enough, it doesn't just light your path. It lights the world around you. Between the person who almost made it and the one who did. There's a reason the greatest performers, the greatest athletes, the greatest leaders in history aren't the most motivated. They're the most disciplined. They understand that success isn't about feeling good all the time. It's about doing good all the time. They show up when they're tired. They show up when no one claps. They show up when progress feels invisible. And that's what makes them unstoppable. Because the truth is, life won't always feel exciting. The gym won't always feel rewarding. The grind won't always feel worth it. But the ones who rise above the noise are the ones who learn to move even when the music stops. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's not loud. It's not something you can post about every day. It's quiet. It's lonely. It's doing the work in the dark so that one day, the light will find you. And that's where identity is forged, in the dark, not under the spotlight. Every early morning, every late night, Every choice to keep going when no one's watching. That's your foundation being built, brick by brick. Discipline doesn't ask for results, it creates them. It doesn't wait for permission, it commands progress. Understand this, motivation will come and go like the tide. Some days you'll wake up on fire. Other days, you'll wake up feeling empty. But discipline is your anchor. It keeps you steady when the waves of emotion try to pull you under. It doesn't ask, do I feel like it? It declares, I'm doing it anyway. That's power. That's freedom. Because when you stop depending on feelings, you stop being their slave. You stop living for the spark and start living for the standard. The day you learn to move without needing to feel ready is the day you take control of your life. The day you stop negotiating with your excuses is the day your transformation begins. Because discipline doesn't just move your body. It molds your mind. It rewires you to become the kind of person who finishes what they start. And when feelings fade, and they always do, discipline stays. So, when the world sleeps, rise. When comfort calls, resist. When doubt whispers, defy. Because your destiny doesn't belong to your moods, it belongs to your mindset. And when you master that, you'll never need motivation again. Consistency. That's where everything changes. It's not the flash of inspiration or the moment of hype. It's the quiet rhythm of repetition. The act of showing up again and again, even when it's dull, even when it's difficult. Consistency is what takes the dream from the clouds and plants it firmly on the ground. Because success doesn't belong to the one who starts fast. It belongs to the one who stays steady. When you do something every day, no matter how small, you begin to carve new grooves in your mind. Those grooves become habits. And those habits, they start to define you. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, every time you choose progress over comfort, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. Bit by bit, decision by decision, those small votes add up. Before you know it, you're no longer trying to be consistent. You are consistency itself. See, people overestimate the power of intensity and underestimate the power of repetition. Anyone can work hard for a day, that's easy. But can you work with heart for a year? Can you stay the course when nobody's watching? That's the real test. Because consistency doesn't care about the mood you're in. It only cares that you showed up. It's the slow, unglamorous grind that transforms potential into power. And while the world looks for shortcuts, consistency quietly builds giants. Think about it. Water doesn't cut through rock because it's strong, it cuts through because it never stops. Day after day, drip after drip, it carves its way through mountains. That's the power of consistency. It's not about how hard you hit, it's about how long you keep swinging. It's about showing up on the days you'd rather hide. It's about giving effort when there's no energy left. Because it's in those moments, the moments no one sees, that your character is built. And here's the secret. The more consistent you are, the less effort it takes to keep going. Because what starts as discipline eventually turns into instinct. What feels like a chore in the beginning becomes part of your nature. You no longer have to push yourself. Your habits start pulling you. That's when you know you've changed. That's when you've crossed from wanting transformation to living transformation. So don't chase perfection, chase persistence. Don't worry about doing everything right. Focus on doing something every day. Because it's not what you do once that defines you. It's what you do repeatedly. The body you want, the health you desire, the success you dream of, they're all waiting on the other side of consistency. Stay consistent long enough, and one day, you'll look in the mirror and realize you didn't just build a habit, you built yourself. Identity, it isn't born in the spotlight, it's built in the shadows. It's not created in that one grand moment of success, but in the hundreds of silent moments that no one sees. Every time you choose effort over excuses, every time you rise when it would have been easier to rest, you're shaping who you are. The world may not notice those repetitions, but they are the hammer and chisel that carve your character. Because identity is not what you say you are. It's what your habits prove you to be. Repetition is the secret language of greatness. It's what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Think about it. The athlete doesn't become a champion on game day, he becomes one in the early mornings, running sprints in an empty field while everyone else sleeps. The musician doesn't master their craft on stage, they do it in quiet rooms, repeating the same note until their fingers bleed. The leader doesn't rise in moments of applause, they rise through years of unseen work, doing the right thing when no one's there to give credit. Those repetitions, those tiny, uncelebrated acts, that's where identity is forged. You see, a single moment can inspire you, but it can't define you. Because moments fade, emotions change, motivation dies, but repetition, that's forever. Repetition teaches your mind to trust your effort, to rely on your process, to believe in your commitment. When you repeat good actions long enough, they stop feeling like effort and start feeling like you. That's not just discipline anymore, that's identity. You stop saying, "I'm trying to be consistent," and start living as someone who is. Most people quit before the repetition can reshape them. They want results without routine. They crave success but refuse to endure the process. But the truth is, greatness is boring before it becomes brilliant. The work feels dull before it feels divine. You repeat the same things day after day, and it feels like nothing's changing. But deep down, something is changing. Not just around you, but inside you. The repetition is rewriting your story, line by line. Because identity doesn't come from what you occasionally do, it comes from what you do relentlessly. You are what you repeat. If you repeat excuses, you become the person who quits. If you repeat effort, you become the person who endures. If you repeat growth, you become the person who inspires. Repetition is the invisible hand shaping your destiny, molding your future, refining your soul. So don't run from the repetition. Embrace it. Every rep, every step, every small act of effort is a brick in the house of your identity. When the world sees the finished structure, they'll call it talent. They'll call it luck. But you'll know better. You'll know it was repetition, quiet, consistent, powerful repetition, that built the person staring back at you in the mirror. Because moments might create memories, but repetition creates you. Here comes a point in every journey where the trophies, the applause, the recognition, they stop mattering. Because deep down, the real victory was never about the medals or the spotlight. The real reward is standing tall one day, looking in the mirror, and realizing you became who you said you'd be. That's a kind of success no one can take from you. It's not measured in numbers or likes or fame. It's measured in truth, in alignment, in the quiet pride that comes from keeping a promise to yourself. When you start this journey, whatever it is, you make a silent vow. You tell yourself, "I'm going to change." You dream of becoming stronger, healthier, wiser, more disciplined. But along the way, that voice of doubt creeps in. You can't do this. You'll fall again. You've failed before. And maybe you do fall. Maybe you fail 100 times. But every time you rise, every time you push forward, when quitting would have been easier. That's not just progress. That's transformation. You're becoming the kind of person who doesn't back down. You're becoming the person you promised yourself you'd be. And that's the reward, not the destination, but the becoming. Because transformation isn't a single moment. It's a series of choices. It's doing the hard thing when no one's clapping. It's waking up early when no one's watching. It's pushing through the pain because your purpose is louder than your comfort. And one day, without realizing it, you'll wake up different. The struggle that used to break you will now strengthen you. The habits that once felt heavy will now feel natural. You won't need to tell people you've changed. They'll see it in the way you move, in the way you speak, in the way you carry yourself. See, the real reward is not the result. It's the resilience you build to get there. It's not the goal. It's the grit. Because when you keep your promise to yourself, you gain something priceless, self-respect. That's the foundation of every dream that lasts. You can lose everything, your job, your money, your position. But when you've built yourself into someone who keeps their word, you can rebuild anything. You become unbreakable. the world will test you. Life will throw storms your way. But if you stay consistent, if you stay grounded in the fire of your purpose, you'll realize the person you are now is no longer the person who started. You've evolved. You've risen. You've proven that every sacrifice, every struggle, every sleepless night was worth it, because it created you. So, remember this: the real victory is not out there somewhere. It's inside you. It's not what you achieve, it's who you become. And when you become the person you said you'd be, you don't just win the race, you redefine what winning means. Oh, don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait to feel inspired. Be the kind of person who moves anyway, who works anyway, who grows anyway. Because when you keep showing up, when you keep doing the right thing, even when no one's watching, you're writing your story one action at a time. Remember this: motivation is a visitor, consistency is home. And when you live in that home long enough, the world won't just see what you do, they'll know who you are. Because at the end of the day, motivation fades. But consistency builds identity.